We've got one more speaker, and after that we'll have a panel where you'll get some opportunity to ask questions. I think they've got so much to offer, so stay tuned, get some good questions for that after this speaker. So Andy Rogers. Andy is Manager, Coaching and Talent Development at Active Auckland Sport and Recreation. He's also worked with Harbour Sport, Sport New Zealand, and the Greater Auckland Coaching Unit. Andy has wide experience in national and international coaching and talent development at both the community and high performance levels. He's been a national coach and selector with New Zealand Tennis. He's worked with English Tennis, and he's also consulted for the International Tennis Federation. So Andy is going to talk to us today about a good sports program that's a fantastic program that's piloted through Sport New Zealand. Andy.
For putting me on last behind two superstar presenters. Well done, gents. Obviously, a lot of passion in your conviction. We've heard a couple of issues from a global perspective in sport. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to New Zealand and a little bit closer to our DNA, because we talk about sport being in our DNA, and we talk about sport defining us as Kiwis. I just want to start before I get into the presentation and just break a myth. I hear a lot of people talking about sport builds character. Sport defines character and it reveals character. And I think already tonight we've heard how sport can reveal character, both good and bad. To develop character, we need leaders intentionally teaching character. There was a question earlier, what keeps you up at night? The subject that I'm about to speak to you keeps me up at night. I've called it the Great Race to Nowhere, and it's issues in youth sport. And I think while we might not have a crisis, we do have an issue. I just want to start by sharing a story, and we've called it Johnny's story. Johnny's a rugby player, age 7. He's in his second year of rugby. Johnny loves running around and playing with his mates, like every young Kiwi. And this story could be netball, it could be cricket, it could be a number of sports. He loves learning new skills and testing himself. But he feels sad when his mum argues with the ref, and when she tells him off on the way home in the car ride for messing up the try. Fast forward a few more years, Johnny's now age 12. His parents have made him trial for the rep team. He got in, which is good, but he needs to lose 10 kgs in 4 weeks, and he's getting tired. He's training 4 times a week, and his coach believes they're the All Blacks at age 12. He's getting behind in schoolwork now, and he struggles to spend time mucking around with his mates. He's in the first 15 at school now, and he's been diagnosed with an injury. He's checked with a specialist, and he probably needs an operation. His mum and dad have talked to 3 agents now, and they all reckon he's going to make it. Teacher at school, Mrs. Henderson's told him he needs to brush up on his English, but Johnny doesn't need to anymore because he's going to be a rugby player. He's also getting sick and tired of the coach calling him Dumbo and embarrassing him in front of his mates. This Saturday, the game's on TV. Coach is worried that we all need to perform or we'll look like dickheads out there. It's big stakes now. It's his last year of school sport now, and the rugby team has a lot of expectation to win the 1A competition. The coach has asked the boys to bulk up. And this is the first time that Johnny's experimented with supplements. He's enjoying competing on the field, but there's something missing off the field. He feels a little bit lost. Something's not quite right. Mum and Dad have just signed a 5-year, $30,000 a year contract for Johnny to shoot over to Australia and actually play the opposite code rugby league. He's pretty nervous about letting everyone down. We're stoked though how quickly this time he recovered from his neck shoulder operation. Just want to stop and pause there. How do you think the story ends? Because myself and my team and a number of people across the country The story ends like this. Pushy parents burn out sporty kids. Survey lifts the lid on the extensive abuse and poor sideline adult behaviour at kids' games. It goes on. Fed up league referees quit their job. Supplement use leads to drugs. Tragic story of death. And I ask you, is this the true value of youth sport? For me, it wasn't what I grew up with as a young nipper running around, hitting the ball, kicking the ball with my mates. And I think there's some real parallels to what Moss and David talked about in terms of where we're heading. And I think we're at a crossroads. What I'd like to do is just pause there for 1 second and ask you to turn to the person beside you and chat. Is this the true value of youth sport? Okay. I think not. I think we owe our youth better than that. I think delivered in the right way, it has huge benefits. We talk about life skills. We talk about character building. We talk about leadership skills. But I think in a number of ways, the great race to nowhere, the increased investment, the increased media coverage, is putting pressure on our youth sports system to move more towards a high-performance system than an educational development system. But we're not prepared to leave it there. As Trish mentioned, we've launched a project in New Zealand called Good Sports, and it's funded through funding from Sport New Zealand. And it is about getting leaders, adults, parents, coaches, administrators in the room like this and opening up discussions. It's about asking parents, coaches to reflect on their behaviours, to look at their values, to look at what young people are looking to get out of sport, and to make some changes for the good, for the better. I'll leave it at that.